how to draw this adorable little snail on a rock doodle? Well, then you are going to need something to draw on, something to create your doodle with, something to erase any mistakes that you might make, and a marker to outline your adorable doodle when you're done drawing it. And do not forget the crayons, the markers, the colored pencils, or the paint, so we can add a little color to our doodle. Grab all of these supplies and let's get started! So we are going to go ahead and get started on drawing a little snail on a rock. So I'm going to flip to a nice clean sheet of paper in my book here, as you can see my koala from last class. And I'm going to turn it so my paper, instead of being vertical up and down, my paper is going to be horizontal. And that way I can draw in this chunk of my paper. So I am going to get my Sharpie marker, and I'm going to begin with my snail's face. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a nice curved line. And that curved line is going to work its way all the way around into a smile. So I'm going to continue around here with this curved line. And now I've got what kind of looks kind of like a really turned C shape. And at the end of that, I'm going to add a little curved line for the end for his smile. And if you're working in a sketchbook like me, I do have a piece of paper to protect my marker from going through. So now I'm going to add a little gap, and I'm going to do a curved line to finish his head. And I'm leaving a little gap here. And then I'm going to do a curved line that's going to come down about halfway through where his mouth is. And I'm going to stop because I want to be able to draw my snail's shell. Now these little gaps up here, I'm going to use to draw some little feelers for the top of my snail. So I'm going to go around here, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to curl out and make a feeler, and then I'm going to come back in. And I want the outside part to be skinnier than the base down by my snail's head. So now I'm going to come down in the middle of his mouth here. I'm going to curl down, and I'm going to come back in. And I don't want to go too far because snails are a little bit on the shorter side. And I'm actually going to continue this line down, but I'm going to come down kind of straight because I want this part to be a shell. Then I'm going to come down here with a line, and I'm going to curve. So I'm going to come down just a little bit so I can create the part where the body separates. And I'm going to come across here with a nice straight line. And then I'm just going to kind of curl up for the back end of my snail. I'm going to create a curved line down here for his shell, and I'm going to come up a little bit. So I'm going to curl down, and I'm going to curl up. I'm going to do the same thing back here. So I'm going to curl down, and I'm going to finish, and this is just that part of his shell that's going to kind of connect onto his body, and then we'll add the big circle part back here for his shell. So now I'm going to kind of just make a little line there. Now I'm going to come up here where my line kind of changes, so where I ended my curve for his head and went straight, and I'm going to go from there, and I'm going to curl all the way out and around. I'm going to go out past where I ended my snail shell, curl in, and then I'm going to curl up and in here in the middle just to create that little swirl in the middle of his shell. And then right here I can take and end my little snail's body. So now I've got a little snail on my paper. He does need some eyes, so let me go ahead and draw in 2 little eyes. And he does not get a mouth or anything else because this is his mouth right here. So I don't need to worry about drawing anything else. Now I do want to add some sort of background. So he's just floating in the middle of my paper. I can draw a nice straight line and just have him on the ground. but I want to kind of have him on a rock. So I'm going to go ahead and make kind of a bumpy curved line. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, just kind of a bumpy curve. And I'm not going down all the way. I still have about 1 inch at the bottom of my paper. So now I can kind of curve around, and I'm going to stop because I want to add another little rock here, kind of in front of it. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to create another little bumpy something or other here, curved line for another little rock. And then I need to kind of round that bottom. So now I've got 2 rocks. I got a little rock and a big rock. And the big rock is where my snail is at. Now I need to kind of create some lines here to show that my snail is on a flat part of the rock. So I'm just going to add a couple little lines here just to help add a little something to my rock. And I'm going to do the same thing on this rock, and it just helps add a little detail to those rocks. And then I think I'm going to add some leaves over here. So let me just add a leaf. So curved line with kind of an S curve. Then maybe on the other side I do the S curve with a curved line, so that way they're going in 2 different directions. Do a curved line right down the middle to help give it a little bit of a leaf look. And maybe I'm gonna bend my paper a little bit. Maybe I do like some littler leaves here. Just kind of peeking out from behind this rock, like so. And then the last thing I need is just a little horizon line here to help finish off my doodle. So that way my rocks are grounded, my snail is grounded, and everything is there. Look at how cute it is. I love it. So if you drew in pencil, please grab your marker and go ahead and outline your doodle now. And if you have it outlined and you're ready to color, go ahead and grab those crayons, markers, colored pencils, or paint, and let's add a little color to this adorable little snail on a rock. Look at how cute our little snail turned out. I love him. I did add a little purple for his shell and a little pink and kind of a little bit of orange just to help kind of bring out a little more color in him. And I'm going to actually add a little blue to his shell to do the same thing because it's a little bit one colored right now. So I'm just going to kind of scribble in a little bit of a different color, maybe like a little bit of a fluorescent-y kind of shell just to bring in like 2 different colors. I colored my rock in nice and gray, added some green grass, and then I even did a little bit of brown in my grass because I think the only time I've ever seen a snail in my yard, it was really muddy and they kind of were in the dirt area of my garden. So I just thought that's kind of how he should look. I hope that you had fun doodling this little snail with me today. If you did, please give my video a like, subscribe, and share. And I cannot wait to see you for our next drawing video. Have a great day. Goodbye.